Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh, and very good afternoon. Welcome to Muscat University Renewable Energy Engineering lecture series. This is our first lecture, and this lecture will be delivered by our keynote speaker, Professor Hussein Kazem. He is one of the really best researchers in renewable energy over the world, and a second worst top 2%. Professor Hussein has received his bachelor and master in electrical engineering from University of Technology, Baghdad, Iraq, and also obtained his PhD from Newcastle University, UK. Professor Hussein currently is Associate Professor at Sohar University. He is involved in academic and research for the last 25 years and is associated with professional organizations and engineering societies as a member, researcher, editor, as well as reviewer, such as in IEEE, IET, Elsevier, Springer, Wiley, MDPI, Hindawi, EDP Science, IAENG, WREN, Nature, and WSEAS. Professor Hussein organized and participated in many conferences, symposiums, and workshops. He has authored several publications. Actually, it is not several, it is numerous publications, including more than 200 papers published in scientific journals and conferences. And he has been invited for more than 50 talks. And he has also published 8 chapters and 7 books in the renewable energy sector. Professor Hussein also is the winner of the Sohar University Vice Chancellor Award for Research. And also he is the winner of some national and international awards like the Golden Medal Award, Pechipta, Malaysia, and the Outstanding Renewable Energy Lab Award, World Renewable Energy Congress 2014 in London, UK, Renewable and Sustainable Energy Pioneer Award, World Renewable Energy Congress 2016 in Jakarta, Indonesia, and also Special Award of Excellence in Renewable Energy Research, World Renewable Energy Congress 2018, Kingston in UK, IEEE Best Paper Award in 2021. He is also inventor and co-inventor for 2 patents. Professor Hussein had supervised and graduated more than 50 BSc, 8 MSc, and 3 PhD students. Professor Hussein has completed 4 research grants, 1 Sustainable Future Research Grant, and 1 FORAB Research Project granted as Principal Investigator and Co-Investigator funded by the Research Council of Oman, TRC. Also, he is currently working on a few research grants. His current research interests are in the area of photovoltaic, solar system, PVT, renewable energy, power electronics, power quality, and electrical power systems. Professor Hussein is the chairman of the Renewable Energy and Sustainable Technology Research Group, and also he is the team leader of the Generation and Storage Task Force in the Oman Renewable Energy Strategic Program. Also, he is the manager and editor of the Journal of Renewable Energy and Environmental Sustainability. Something also I would like to add here, as long as you refer to any reference on renewable energy to Oman, whenever you come, you access to Elsevier or to other leading publishers, and to have like references, this is certainly you will come across when you are going to work on your thesis. You will be familiar with Professor Hussein, because his articles becoming like a reference for renewable energy research sector in Oman, especially in the top ranking journals like Renewable and Sustainable Energy Review, Solar Energy, Renewable Energy. So you will be familiar with his name always, because he is one of the best researchers in this field. I am so pleased to have Prof. Hussein in this series, and this will be the last lecture, the first lecture, not the last lecture, the first lecture in this series. And now I would like to hand over to the mic to Professor Hussein to start his talk.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Mann, for inviting me, for having me in this webinar. It is a pleasure, actually. But I wonder if I share my slides. Can you see the slide?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for Dr. Mann for organizing this event and having me in this webinar. Actually, I would like to talk about my research in solar energy in Oman, but in a different way. I will try to focus on creativity, innovation, and community service. I try to link this research in solar energy, which is started in 2011, particularly by a grant from Research Council of Oman. And then I take it over to improve my skills, to let me say, engage my students, my courses in this project, and building the infrastructure, establishing a few labs, and then we take it over from there. So my presentation will be in 4 points: introduction and objectives, I don't know what's happening. You still see my slides, Dr. Mann?
Yes, Professor. Maybe you can just share the screen again.
Okay, okay. Now is it okay?
Yeah, okay.
Great. So I will give a brief introduction, and then I will talk about the experimental setup. I take you in my journey in research related to solar energy in Oman, and I share with you some of the results and achievements, and then my conclusion will be takeaway with you. Okay, so if I would like to define the creativity, I will say it is a phenomenon. I will try just read these 3 definitions, and then I will take over. Creativity is a phenomenon whereby something new and somehow valuable is formed. So you start from nothing. There is no such practice before. You take it over from here and produce something new added to the science. As example, innovation in its modern meaning, it's mean a new idea. So it could be there's something available, you just improve it, you just build on it and try to come up with ideas out of the box. So this is what we call it innovation. They are linked to each other, and sometimes people, they cannot distinguish easily between them. For community service, it's clear that you serve the community without, let me say, income, without salary, without money. But sometimes you even pay from your time, you pay from your money, just to serve the community. These 3 important points, actually, when I start my project, it wasn't that much in my mind. But later on, I found them that they represent my objectives, actually, without knowing this. And then I start focusing on them, focusing on creativity, on innovation, and then a community service. And just as introduction for the audience here regarding solar energy, it's very simple. We have silicon, the second material available in our nature. We use it. It's available everywhere. Wherever you go on the planet, you will find silicon. There is sand, there is soil. It's available there. And even if we look to the silicon produce most of technology today we are using. It's representing our lifestyle today. In front of your, let me say, mobile phone or tab or laptop or screen or whatever. Even if you go to the kitchen, you will find silicon there. So silicon used a long time back to manufacture this cell, which we call a solar cell. Solar cell is a device which converts light into electricity, direct current. If we put these cells together in series and parallel to improve the current and voltage and power and energy, then we have what we call a solar module. If we put them in series here, as you can see, we come up with panels. We put them together to come up with array or solar plant, whatever you call them, matrix. Okay, this is a large, let me say, part of energy produced by this array. Now, In 2011, I got this grant funded by Research Council. It was 50,000 Omani Riyal to answer a question for the government. This a question if the government would like to invest in large scale, because here we're talking about billions. So how it look like the system we are gonna install, or let me say the technology will be used, what are the optimum design parameters, what is the evaluation in terms of technical or economical aspects. All these need to be answered. And you may say, okay, many researchers, they already started in 20 30 years before this. Yes, that's right, and they work on, there is a good publication came from different university and Omani researchers. But what happened is, when we go for investment, is not enough to have research for research, or scientific research, or basic research, or applied research. We need some sort of research, which we call it research for investment. It means we dig deep, because I mean, what happened is these billions need to be returned back, and there is some profit on them. It's not we are doing research for education. No, we are investing, so we need to make sure. And many examples I can say available in the region. People, they go directly to the investment without having such studies, and at the end it come up with a fail rather than success. So my objectives at that time was to investigate the performance of photovoltaic, different type of system, different configuration, different technology, and to develop and design optimum system using let me say a new tool. Okay, and why a new tool, I will talk about later. And then to also engage people, either technicians, students, in the university in this field. So we building capacity, as they call it. So this is the system at the end, and it was funded. The number of this grant was ORGIE 11001. It was opportunity for me to have money. I mean, and to bring equipments and to establish renewable energy job. These are some of the equipment we purchased through this grant. And as usually, I thank Research Council of Oman for supporting me all these years, and I was engaged with them in many of their activities. And then the difficulties came when I started executing the project. You know that any project you need to start with theoretical calculation, literature survey, methodology, and these stuff. And then when the idea clear in front of you, you move to the installation, purchasing equipment, and then installing. I would like to take you on a journey in a few photos. The photos will talk about themselves, and there are many stories behind each one of these photos. Actually, I try to summarize here the important photos, otherwise there are many. This is the place given to me on the building, engineering building in Sohar University. Look how it looked like at that time. This is 2011. This is inside the building on level floor number 4, and as you can see here, how it looked like, the location. Then I start putting plan to have 2 labs, one for the students and one for the research. And since I'm teaching renewable energy course for Sohar University since 2007, which was the first course in renewable energy in Sultanate, and then I start to engage, let me say, and introduce all the concepts which can be used for, can use it and link it to them to my course, because when the students come to the lab, they can see what they already studied in theoretical part. So eco houses principles, using the material, all these have been introduced in this lab as much as I can. Then I try to spread them, as you can see, and then we build, we make, as you can see, the doors, the installation, electricity, painting. You can see here the trunk for the installation, electrical part. Then we moved to have air conditioning. It was, let me say, this part was supposed to be store, but without electricity, with nothing. Then I started establishing it as a renewable energy lab. It's a small lab, but still its productivity is high. Then I brought some furniture for the renewable energy lab related to the students. And this is, I put here trying to have the cables going to my lab, because I put our equipment outside. Then we clean the place. But at that time, you know, this region, I mean, talking about Middle East in general, they are just started. it's 30, 40 years back, started with research. Still people are not familiar with the grants, with deadlines, blah, blah, blah. So you imagine this ladder took from me 3 months with dozens of emails to convince people there that I need ladder. I mean, they cannot jump, students cannot jump crossing these pipes. And then we start doing the concrete and take it to the other side of the building, and then this winch took the concrete to the other side of the building, and then we move it into the location, right location. This is the weather station where it took it. By the way, the budget was limited, so I have to try to spend it carefully, and to make sure that I brought as much as equipment. Sometimes I need to sacrifice. As example, in this weather station, I couldn't brought expert to install it because it's cost me around 5 to 6,000 Omani Riyal, which I want to save it for another equipment. So I did it by myself, and I learned a lot about weather station, how you connect the sensors, how you setting them, how you programming them. If faults happens, what should you do? And then I move it here to the lab. Then I open the sensors here. It was at that time 13 sensors, different sensors, and then I start connecting these, let me say, sensors on the weather station. Here I'm programming the data logger, and then I put it on the top of my lab. Some concretes for a specific systems need to be produced on the top of the building. So we did this one for a tracking system, as you can see here. Now we after that, the company I work with, this company to establish and install the system according to my calculations. Okay, so the orientation, I choose the orientation based on the calculation, and then we start building the system, as you can see here, step by step. I leave photos talking about some people start working inside the lab to establish the data logger, collectors, batteries, loads, sensors, and so these are the batteries, data logger, charger controllers for different systems. And then here we have outside the three systems. This is the grid system, this is standalone system, this is solar tracking system. And then inside here we start, these are people work on this project to establish the system. Then I decided to have my monitoring, let me say, system. I selected at that time state of the art of sensor used in the field, and then I make a plan for having specific data acquisition. I design it. I use my skills in digital logic and digital electronics. Then I work with the specialist. This is the Dr. Riyah, specialist from UK. He came here and we worked together to build this sensoring system to make sure that my data taken from different sources. This is research and this is for investment. So you need to make sure that we can calibrate our data. We can compare between them. So we did this. Was part of, let me say, creativity. I mean, I cross using this system. This system is totally designed by me and this company, and based on my needs. It's not available in the market, but it was creativity to have such system because nobody think to have measurement in seconds for this type of studies. So I'm talking about a bulky of data. And then this is Dr. Tamer, my research assistant at that time. We worked together on this project. And here we have system ready. Now for achievement, we publish many papers, around 40 Q1, ISI, and Scopus in top ranked journals in solar energy, renewable and sustainable energy, energy conversion and management, sustainability, and many other in different publishers, in Elsevier, in Springer Nature, in Taylor and Francis, and many other publishers. See, so here to pick just part of my results. You can see here for the on the level of design, we have many information we came up. I leave them there. By the way, at that point when I start working on the design to find the optimum design for Oman, as you know, any location is related to the latitude and longitude. It will not change since it's created, since God created this planet. It is there, it's specified. But until I start this study, nobody found the optimum design parameters for this, let me say, location, which is Oman. I got it and it's fixed. I mean, whoever come after me to find the optimum will not find something different from what I got already. So this is, let me say, my fingerprint, if you can say. And then I investigated dust many publications published on this, and it was really important to have studies on dust, especially in this region, which is suffer from dust, solar radiation and temperature and their impact also. If you would like to have more information about this, you can read, you can just Google or access to my ResearchGate or Scopus page or Google Scholar, and then just write solar energy Oman. You will have many of my publications. You can have more information about solar energy. Also, humidity and its impact we publish. But here the creativity came. Have a look. What I did, I thought that through the literature survey, it's my advice for you in this level to spend time reading and acknowledge what people did, and but at the same time criticize them. Write your comments on their work, and then you look from the side that they missed. Because when I do, as example from myself, when I do my research, I'm looking from one side, two sides. I may miss many sides. People publish their work and they look from one side. Most of, as on my best knowledge, most people work in the field, they look from one side. They look to the let me say, to the sun and to the weather. Okay, they never put them, I mean, they make them the load, themselves the load, and they look to the sun and the weather or environmental parameters. I make a mirror, and then I start looking from the sun toward the load. So it give me a lot of, because now I'm looking from the two-side view, not one-side view. Also, people, they try to, let me say, investigate impact of, as example, design parameters or radiance or temperature or dust, whatever. But sometimes they include in their study two elements, as example, temperature and dust, as example. Okay, but it never happened that in term of, as example, if I would like to study dust or temperature, I look to the other side and try to see the impact of the design elements on the temperature on the, of the photovoltaic, or irradiance on the temperature, or temperature of the cell on the temperature, or dust on the temperature, or humidity, or two elements. In this way, you are not looking to the temperature itself, but the correlation between temperature and other environmental parameters. This is really, it was new, and I come up with important, let me say, achievements in the field. For innovation, as I mentioned, there are many elements. It's fixed, but it hasn't been defined before this study. I mean, this grant, but it was defined in this grant, such as size ratio, cost of energy, capacity factor, yield factor, cost of payback fee period. All these and design parameters, all these have been designed, let me say, specified in this study. Then the main few papers published from this study, from this research grant, I try to publish them in a book which is called Photovoltaic Power System Prospective in Oman, Technical and Economical Study. It's useful for people looking not only for research, for investment in the field. And then while I'm working on this, on the design, there are many softwares around at that time, around 32, 33 softwares available globally, and I try to read about them and even try around 10 of the best of these softwares. But I found there are some point missed in these softwares. Besides, most of these softwares are design based on your input, so it's not smart enough. So what I decide, first of all, I will include what is missed by these softwares. I mean, in terms of performance evaluation. The second issue, I will try to have my own algorithm, when supposed to be smart, to come up with a real system. Okay, not theoretical system. So I make a smart algorithm, and I design this software. It's registered in the ministry, which is REPS.OM, which is Renewable Energy Power System Optimization Tool for Oman, which is very simple and easy to be used to design different type of systems of solar energy. Then after that, or let me say, on the same way, at the same time, concurrently, I start to engage my students and link my course to the grant, because this is how to transfer the knowledge to the student. Beside, you enjoy, your student enjoy, and creates scientific environment in the location in your university. So these are some of the students participates in this project. Beside, I try to engage with the, let me say, community, with the companies. Many visitors came to visit us by after they read, let me say, our articles, and they start knowing about our, let me say, lab. So these are people from Glasgow, from Abu Dhabi, from Green Building in Oman TV, Sohar Aluminium Valley, and many other companies in Sohar and outside Sohar. See, so I will note about each one of these photos talking about, there are many stories, there are many people, and there's a lot to be said, but I don't have time to talk about this. So as you can see here, visitors coming from different locations. And then my students engage in this project. So they start participating in workshops, in seminar, even they went to for conferences outside Oman or inside Oman. So these are some of our students' activities. I remember these students, they went to China to present their work related to this project and to our research in solar energy, and even media cover this project, and all these students have already graduated. And the achievement awarded by the World Renewable Energy Congress, our lab awarded the Outstanding Renewable Energy Laboratory Award in 2014, beside these 5 labs in different countries in Malaysia, Brazil, Sweden, UK, and Oman. This is our lab award. And in 2016, I been awarded the Pioneer of Renewable Energy in Jakarta, and then a special award in renewable energy excellence and renewable energy research in Kingston in UK. And now the takeaway, the conclusion, I will conclude. What I will talk about now, community service. Now, always in my talk, usually with people, I told them that, okay, you work in a university or research center. I know that you're focused on research grant, blah, 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 blah. But frankly speaking, we need to think more about the community. I mean, it's not enough to have a university in Sohar, as example, or in Muscat, or in Nezo, wherever it is. I mean, having a high ranking in QS ranking, or high publication rate, or reputation. Let's see how can we have impact on the community we live in. I mean, we don't wait the students coming from schools or from other places to let me say engage with us and having information from, but let go and try to knock the door on others. I mean, talking about the community, from my experience, I knock the door on hospitals, on companies, on schools, even primary schools. 20 years back when I came to Oman, actually, I've been talking with students in the primary schools. Many of my colleagues, they say this is waste of time. And later on, these students, they came to attend my class another, let me say, 12 years, and they remember me when I came and talked with them. This is how you create a community. They like they start in having interest in science because of these visits. So let's start to be in touch with the community. This will spread the awareness. Many awareness, I mean, need to be spread for the community, especially here, because people are not familiar with energy consumption, energy conservation, solar energy. And so if we don't talk with them as specialists, how they know? And then also my project, I try to focus my projects on our, let me say, problems in Oman. I didn't take problem from other countries such as US or China and try to solve it. No, let's focus on our, let me say, problems here, industrial problems, agricultural problems, and then try to use it. Here are sample of our projects done by my students. I work with them. And then also it's important to be engaged with the community through schools, primary school, secondary school. If there are other students so close, then it's good to engage with them and transfer the knowledge for them. These are some of our engagement with the community. And I will stop here. It seems to be I talked 43 minutes. So thank you for listening. I will happy to receive your questions. Dr. Mike, with you.
Thank you, Dr. Hussein, for this inspiring talk. And now we open question and answer for the participants. If you have anything you'd like to ask, so please feel free. And also you can use the conversation, the chat box, if you would like to also type your question. Okay, while we are waiting for the participants, I just would like to ask you, Dr. Hussein, for this uh, for the solar energy. Now you have two things you just now emphasize on. First of all, the contribution to the community awareness, as well as to implement uh, all your knowledge and to invest all your knowledge in Oman. So these the two things that you just emphasized on, and I think these really valid. Also, we need to consider for you guys uh, when you are going to select your thesis topics, because we need all topics to be relevant to Oman. This is something also part of what is required from you, even in your assignments for the projects of the modules now you are currently enrolled. Uh, I'm wondering now, Dr. Hussein, for the solar, what do you think here about us, or what do you expect in the near future? How is going to be like the image of the renewable energy in general and solar energy PV market in Oman?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mann. Before I answer this question, may I add just regarding the problems related to Oman? Actually, this is important, I mean, to solve our problem. I give examples here. Now, you see in some, in Malaysia, I saw the Malaysian, I'm working close with Solar Energy Institute in National University of Malaysia, and what I found that they try to direct their research to solve a problem available in Malaysia, regardless if it is costly. But they focus on their problems, which give a potential for the research. But in another situation, if I go to the research center in Kuwait, they try one of the strategic research they try to adopt is to solve a problem for NASA. I mean, we need to solve our problem before we go to solve other people problems. So this is important here. Regarding the picture, full picture for solar energy and renewable energy in general, it's became like a COVID. I mean, spreads very fast. Let's look, Omicron really spread very fast, and people start to have this favor. I mean, if we talk about 20 years from now in this region, the Gulf region, nobody interested in solar energy. It's still its own level of research. Now we're talking about business and money, a huge investment going on in United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, even it's in Egypt and Morocco or Algeria. They have a huge investment, talking about billions. Now this will continue. Even in Oman, we have this vision in 2030, 2040, and we expect to approach 25, 30, and 35 or 40 in 2040 for to the share of renewable energy, particularly solar mainly and wind. This will happen. But if I would like to say here that unfortunately in the region in general, most of the projects finished complete when it's completed and start working. I mean, when they establish the power plant, that's it done. No, we don't hear about it. We don't know if it's gonna success at the long term, talking about 20, 25 years or not. This is not to be the situation in Europe or in US or other countries. The project finish when the life cycle is finished, talking about 25, 30 years. At that time they have to let me say their return, the payback period supposed to be short, and then they return the investment and there is a profit. In our situation, unfortunately, when they say that this plant start working, that's it done, and this is not correct. Why? Because are we gonna have a successful investment? Do we will return the investment in a term of 15 to 20 years? Is there any profit coming on from this project? If the project will work, or we will face another couple of years from now many problems and nobody will talk about them. So my advice always that we need to go for research. Which type of research for investment, to make sure that this project, every two it came, it was 500 megawatt, a huge plant. It cost 400,000 million dollar, US dollar. We want to make sure it will work for another 25 years. In another 10 years from now, the investment should be returned. The 400, let me say, million US dollar, it should be returned, and then there should be profit. Without looking in this way, it's just merit of achieving, let me say, short-term, let me say, objectives, and you never know what will happen in the future. But still, people are interesting and the interest increase daily.
Okay, Maram, please go on.
Thanks, Dr. Ma'alim. Thank you, Dr. Hussein. This is so inspiring. Since you mentioned about Abri project, I have two questions. For such
Yes.
large-scale project, what's the main, or the biggest challenge? Second question is what you mentioned. How can we know if we can sustain the project unless we monitor it for a long term?
Yeah.
What's your advice? Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much for the two questions. Just remind me the first question. I focus on the second. I forget the first.
Okay, let's start the second one.
Okay, the second
Yes.
one. I mean, this is my point. We're supposed not to install a system and monitor it for another 25 years, and we will face the point at the end of this 25. Did we success or failed? Who will care? I lose my money if I failed. Is this the way how people work in business? No, this is not the way. I give example here. In 2006, Masdar Abu Dhabi, the first green city in the world, they started this project, which is a huge project and really interesting project. What happened is invest in millions, okay, and then to move to billions. Now, what happened after a few couple of years when they started, they faced the problem, which big problem and challenge, which is the dust impact on the CSP, concentrated solar power, and the photovoltaic. They couldn't solve it until today. It's a fail. It's a fail. Why this happened? Because look, I give anybody money, he can bring any contractor from outside and he can establish whatever you would like, okay? And he show you the heaven in his papers, in his contracts. But this is not the way. We need to know the future. I mean, another 25 years from now, we need to know what will happen. Can we? Yes, we can. How? There are many. There is a modern ways, okay? But people, they don't know about it. These contractors, they don't care about it, okay? But for our situation, I remember a long time back in Oman, I've been talking about there should be specialists in any company or any organization interested to invest in solar energy. Because I mean, you have money, but who will guide you? Don't tell me that I'm dealing with the GM or Siemens or well-known or established company. These are contractors. They look from their side of you. They want more money. But from your side, do you have expert to help you, to guide you? I remember in 2019, I was the consultant for a project, solar energy project in Majis, in Suhar. It was 1 million Omani Riyal project for solar energy. When I went to convince them at the beginning that they need expert, I told them, do you have, I mean, how are you gonna evaluate the contractor, let me say, proposals? They say, we have people, there is electrical background people. Do they know about the solar energy? They say, no. Do they know about the technology? No. Do they know how to design, how to evaluate, to look to the future, what will happen? No. Then you need experts. For that, they recruited me at that time, and I helped them to select the best, let me say, options. So this is my situation. My point is not to wait another 25 to say that we fail or success. No, we need to, before we start giving contract to others, you need to have expert guide you in the right direction. You need to predict another 25 or 30 years from now, what will happen to the system if you install it? Is it going to be success or fail? This is important. Now, what happened in Oman, we invest, we have a plan, that's good. But I mean, you can bring the best companies in the world to establish power plants for you. But at the end, another 25 years is going to be success or fail. This is something else. This is my second question. I don't know, what is your first question?
Thank you. It's clear. It makes
Has been
sense.
answered?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
The first question was on such large project. What's the main obstacle? I mean, what's the main challenge to sustain it?
You mean my lab?
Technically, no, I mean in that Abri, such large scale project.
I see. Now, I guess the main two important, let me say, obstacles will be, or let me make them three. Two related to environment. Dust is main, temperature is the second, And the third is the integration with the grid, with the national grid. These are very important to be addressed. And I don't know if you have expert. By the way, it doesn't mean expert is to have let me say in renewable energy engineer or somebody have master or PhD. I mean, talking about experts spend his life in the field. I mean, it's not supposed to be recruited and stay in every, as example, power plant. It could be outside or the border. I mean, but in contact to advise you in which direction we go.
Abdullah, do you have something to add? You raise your hand.
Yes, doctor, I have something. Especially, I am working in transmission company. So the main, especially for this EBRI and large scale power station, solar power, we face some technical issue related to that intermittency, the fluctuation of production of each. So imagine that we have 500 megawatt, sudden cloud comes to cover that area, you lose a full amount of that, and this will lead with some technical issue related to the system spinning reserve and inertia and others technical issue. This is my additional point.
Yeah, you are right. Totally right. Now, the company, the contractor, they establish the system for you. They make sure it's working another couple of months, even 1 year, and they go. What happened to your grid? What happened, the impact of your grid on your power plant, the 500 mega, or the 500 mega on the grid? It's your problem. As they say, اذهب أنت وقاتل أنت ربك قاتلا نحن قاعدون. They don't care because they took their money and that's gone. I mean, what happened in other countries, especially, I mean, if I'm talking about the West, I mean, Europe, US, or East, I mean, talking about China, they don't have our problems. Our problems here in this region is the temperature and dust mainly. They don't have. But even though, what happens is these countries, their plan, they predict how their system will work. Not only the system, even after they connected, they predict for another 25, 30 years. So they know it will be success or not. For our situation, no. I mean, actually, we decided 500 mega. Now, contractors, after we send the request for a proposal, they send their proposal, we evaluate. I don't know how they evaluate, we evaluate. And at the end, it's given to this or that company, and then they establish. What happened next? This is the important issue. We don't need to face the problems faced by Masdar. Masdar, they face these problems. It's clear. I mean, and I've been talking with some specialists there, even the contractor, even the specialists working with them from US, and really it was challenge. They can solve it.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad. My name is Muhammad Al-Rashidi. I'm working in Muscat Distribution Company. Right now, I'm complete almost 3 to 4 years in renewable side in solar projects. And I would say that your presentation was very good. You you cover some good points. You try to cover some very important points. But I mean, some points I'm still, I disagree with you in some cases. For example, when you were talking about, for example, Ibri 2, and you said that they built it and they went out and blah. I don't think this is the case here. For example, in every it's a POO, it's a build, operate, and maintain. So this type of project is they are themselves they are operating the system until today. So I would say the dust and this issue, yes, it's a major issues and it's happened everywhere, and a lot of people and a lot of countries they're still suffering from this issue, but still with the time being, with the technology introduces, yes, they can, they start solving this issue. And I would say the dust, with the good maintenance, with the good caring about them, yeah, you can solve them. Another point I want to add about the expertise, يعني here in Oman, yes, the field and renewable is still new here. And but what I can see compared to other, for example, countries, that in very short period, I would say that a lot of good expertise, a lot of excellent people, they went in the field and the side, and I saw a lot of good expertise already built, and it's coming more and more, and the sector is developing very good. Yeah, this is my opinion.
Okay.
My question is this for you: what exactly you are seeing the future of the I mean for the green hydrogen here in Oman? Do you think, for example, in the next year we will see final decision investment in green hydrogen here in Oman or not, and why? Do you
Okay.
think the cost of the hydrogen will went down more in the next years, or it will be much difficult to go back to that, or will take another few years extra for this? I know it's a little bit far away from what exactly your topic, but still in the renewable world. Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
thank you very much
Sorry.
for your comment and for the question. I will answer the question, but take me back to your comment. I don't know how Ibri to jump to our discussion, but however, it's taken as an example. And let's spread this example to other projects coming soon or it's have been implemented before. Now, I know there is organizations in Oman, you say OOP, I don't know what's the, anyway, there is organization take over these projects, but how they work? They work in this way. They have a committees. They plan to have, let me say, this amount, 500 mega as example, power plant somewhere, and then start sending requests for proposals for well-known companies in the world, and then these companies offer their proposals, and then it get evaluated. And I mean, this is not the way. I mean, this is what I'm saying. This is not the way. This is not enough. I mean, you evaluate what they have already given to you, and based on the information give you, you will say that this proposal better than the, and then you establish, you pay and then establish. You may have a link, continuous link with these companies for 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 years. Okay, but this will not change things. If there is a problem, it will appear, and these companies, they cannot help you. And as example, when you talked about dust, I mean, I've been working in dust since 1998. I started with dust, and now I have many publications related to dust. I'm one of the well-known figure in dust, as example, in the field, in the world. But dust is a problem available. You should not treat the dust after you establish the 500 mega. You should look first to the dust before you establish in this. Before you give a contract for a company to establish the 500 mega or wherever, not anywhere in the world. I have lecture anywhere in the world. So you need to take this in consideration before you give the contract and establish the. You cannot solve it. When you say, okay, we have that's the problem. What you are gonna do? Use water, clean it. I mean, this costly. This is cost, extra cost added to, and at the end you will find that the 500, let me say, US dollar, million US dollar, you may not return them back in a time 20 years time. So is this success? I'm not talking about any power plant in the region. So you should not establish first and then look to solve the problem next. You should first, I mean, this is what happened in Abu Dhabi. They established the CSP, the photovoltaic, and another 2 years they face that they need to clean. The CSP in a couple of days, it's reduced the efficiency 40% to 40%. The photovoltaic, every 3 days, they need to clean it and do, let me say, even with water. So in conclusion, what they found that this is lost. This is a mistake. I mean, you cannot go in this direction. Then start looking for a treatment for the dust. Is this what we want in Oman? No, we supposed to. It's fine that we have one plant, but let's think about the future. Recently, I published, maybe 3 days back, I published in Springer Nature a new article. You can follow me in ResearchGate on Google Scholar and Scopus, or even in LinkedIn, and find this article. I try to predict the weather situation only for temperature and solar radiation until 2050 in Oman, and particularly in Ad-Duqm. Okay, see my achievements. And this is just a prediction using a few artificial neural network based on some experimental results from me and from other organizations in Oman. What about dust, which is main, let me say, barrier for solar energy technology in this region? Do we know what will happen? If I give example, 3 years, 4 years back, anybody predicted that Shaheen is coming to attack the coast in Oman? In 2005 or 4, anybody expected that Jonah will come in 2007 and attack? Nobody know. So if you establish something in front of this cyclone, it will go on. So this is what I mean. We need to predict what will happen. How it look like the dust storm. I mean, in the region, near Ibri as example, or in Duqm, or this needs to be investigated, and not by any researcher, by expert. By expert. I'm not talking about somebody having only PhD or let me say master or bachelor. I mean, because we are talking about billions. These are investment. I mean, I hope. One of recent article published maybe 2 years back by me, it was a study for 7 years experiment. Imagine 7 years of experiment by seconds. I measure the solar energy, production, power, energy, efficiency, current, voltage, temperature, solar radiation, the cell temperature for 7 years, every second. You never find this type of information anywhere in the world. Then I decided how it looked like the aging of my panels. Because people, if you go to any contractor, he will tell you 20, 25 years, your panel will work like this. But when it go to the reality in this region with this dust, even the dust, by the way, scratching, not only make a barrier for the solar radiation. No, it's scratching also. Type of dust, the particle, the size, the shape, okay? So all these sharpness, softness, and so on. So all these need to be investigated before we go to large scale. This is my advice.
Many
For
thanks,
your question, sorry, but regarding the hydrogen.
Okay.
Hydrogen energy, it's not far from my work. I mean, actually, when you work in renewable energy, I'm focusing more on solar, but I'm working in all field of renewable energy. When you come to hydrogen, soon or far, people will come to hydrogen through solar energy, soon or far. So it's really interesting. I wrote this more than 15 years back in many of my articles. I will try to share with you one of my article 2011. It's published in Renewable and Sustainable Energy Review. I make my plan. What's my expectation based on my knowledge in the field about renewable energy in Oman in terms of education, in terms of industry, in terms of electricity, and I try to search all of them and write. Let me say it's like a map for the future. And I'm pleased to say that many of my ideas at that time adopted today. I can see them reality in Oman. It's happening either through policy, regulation, or people went through this. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Hussein. It is indeed now the hydrogen energy is the, let's say, it will be the dominant sooner or later, and I think it will be let's say within 10 years. It will be the dominant. It will master the renewable energy resources, and I think now the exponential development in this sector is really attractive. Actually, I can see there are so many interesting comments to share and to like have information to exchange. And of course now, because Prof. Hussein is one of the elite researchers in the renewable energy, as well as also we have sharks in this session, the PG students. You are guys who are really expert in the field, and you are not you are seniors, already seniors. So that's why this kind of activities, I think it is really good to have. But I think unfortunately we cannot extend the time because Dr. Hussein has a lecture after 5 minutes, and also you will have a lecture after 35 minutes. Yeah, but I think there will be like maybe we can arrange for another session with Prof. Hussein. Maybe if you would like to extend the discussion and to have like more about the solar energy marketing in Oman, the research development, as well as in the renewable energy sector in general. I would like to take this opportunity to deeply thank Prof. Hussein for his contribution, and we hope that we can also host him face to face, hopefully in the near future in our campus. Yeah, I think that's all for today. Thank you, Prof. Hussein, for being with us and for delivery of this lecture.
Thank you, Dr. Ma'an, for having me. I just copy-pasted my information just in case if you would like to be in contact with me. And also I will send some of my articles to share with you regarding solar energy in Oman, renewable energy and solar energy, particularly in Oman. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Man.
Thank you, Prof. Hussein. Have a nice day. Thank you, guys.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.